Hello Nathalie, quelle manière?
Bien, merci.
I'm so happy, très honorée de t'avoir. Nathalie is the co-founder of Just Natural, which for me is a beautiful project. Donc je vais la laisser expliquer un petit peu ce que c'est et aussi parler d'elle-même before we jump into the subject of today.
Yes, avec plaisir et merci pour l'invitation d'ailleurs. Alors Just Natural, c'est une ferme. Premièrement, une ferme pour avoir l'opportunité de cultiver notre propre nourriture, mais après aussi pour partager ça avec les autres. Donc, on est ouvert au public, on vend nos produits et on fait ça d'une façon que les clients viennent et récoltent eux-mêmes. Et il y a toute une philosophie derrière pourquoi on fait ça comme ça. Et voilà, donc c'est ça, Just Natural. Mais j'aimerais dire que c'est même plus que juste une ferme. C'est un lieu de bien-être. Lieu où tu vas pour échapper un peu ce monde busy, pour venir à te ressourcer dans la nature, reconnecter avec la nature, reconnecter avec la nourriture et simply breathe, being. Voilà.
J'aime beaucoup l'idée. What really got me, because the first time I saw it was on social media and I knew you from before, but quand j'ai vu le projet, je me suis dit, oh wow, it clicks with so many things, which is it's the way that we live, because you're questioning this. La philosophie pour moi, ce que j'ai compris, c'est how do we live with nature? C'est pas juste cultiver la terre pour se nourrir, c'est understanding there are cycles, there's hard work to earn that food. There is a communion. We are nature. On n'est pas juste des êtres humains qui se différencient. Nous parlons au supermarché, nous prenons affaire au étagère, et puis I'll find out what I do. No, there's hard work. There's maybe a planter behind. There's somebody who's nurturing the land. Il y a la maman nature même that is nurturing us, and do we take care of her? Et aussi, I felt like it was, as you said, that moment of slow living, coming back to realizing that we cannot push. That busy world that we see outdoors, outside of our life, for a lot of people, in a sense, doesn't feel real, right? Would you agree? It doesn't. Yeah. This rhythm doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel natural, and it is mostly a world that is not real. It's a world that we created. It keeps us busy. It makes us make money. It makes us buy stuff, but it doesn't represent life for me, because for me life represents this: humans connecting, having conversations. C'est le partage, c'est le community. It's all that for me is what real life is about. And I think this is, by the way, why so many people are unhappy, because they are grateful that they have a job. Yes, they, get the kids into school, building a house, all that. We are very, busy with that. And yet we don't feel happy deep inside. And I think it's because we just don't get the time in all that busyness just to be and breathe and enjoy these little moments. Before I worked in corporate, I had a very good salary. I had very few moments of happiness. My happiness came in the moments that, I went on a shopping rant, buy something, and then you feel momentarily, I got something cool.
I fixed it. I fixed my happiness for some time at least.
Or you say, I'll take a long weekend somewhere. I go somewhere, but these are all small. Once in a while, happiness is that you buy in a way. Whereas now I don't have all that, but my days are filled with micro moments of happiness, and it's for the most tiniest things and simplest things. Like, for example, I would walk because I need to feed the chickens, and I come across a whole cloud of butterflies. For me, I don't know, it's maybe the kid in me, but the moment I see a butterfly, I cannot help myself. I stand still and I smile, because it's nice to see, right? And you see all that life going on, and you actually have the time to observe, because, farming is a lot observing. You're actually have to stand still and look at what is happening here. Who has time for that? You don't have the time to do that when you sit in an office. Nobody sits and say, oh, let me observe what is happening in this room.
Let me just contemplate, no?
No.
C'est ça. Pour moi, and even I think I was helping people to get better, but I realized I was a human doing and still not embracing the fact that we are human beings, which is sometimes you just contemplate, tu t'assois, tu regardes, tu te poses des questions sans réponse. Y a pas de but. I feel like we're so goal-oriented, so there's something material I need to acquire. There's this next step. And then when the next step is done, there's the next step. I love to ask people that I meet, I'm like, but when is it enough? Because I feel like it's never enough. It's up to you to find this place where you're like, I'm content. Je suis content, c'est qui moi là. I will make the most. It just to like share something. Yesterday I was going out and like cleaning the garden at home. And sometimes you're like, oh, I have to do this. But I was like, no, I get the opportunity to clean my garden. I have a garden. How grateful I am. And I was walking and I saw this ladybug, une petite coccinelle. And the first thing I said was like, oh, wow, like they're kidding me. It's true when you're in a building 24/7, you have to rush to get home, your day just keeps, this word busy is like so fancy. People are so happy and proud to say it. I'm like, is that what we're meant to be, like all the time busy? If when you're not busy, you take your phone out and you get busy again.
Yes.
Et j'aime beaucoup ce que tu partages. Finalement, it's like you saw like a shift in your life in the way that you live, and it had to change many things, I guess, like what you consume, what you buy, where you go. But maybe this would be a good opportunity to like, if you want to tell us a bit more, how did that change happen? Why did you move into creating this?
Yes. Funny story. At the time, I did not think it was funny, but I think it started during COVID, 2020, first lockdown, and I'm a vegetarian, and I was really struggling to find fresh vegetables. And even more difficult it was for me to find vegetables that were not drowned in pesticides. And it is what I eat most, so I really want to be careful with that. And so, like, tu sais, comme tous les Mauriciens, on commence à planter chez toi, et that's what we did as well. We started planting, and I really liked it. We didn't have anything else to do. It was lockdown, so... And I really enjoyed doing that. And then something completely unexpected happened. I lost my job. Just like without any prior warning. I just bombshelled, completely blindsided. I lost my job. And you know how they say, when life squashes you like a tomato, the seeds fall out and something new can grow, right? And that's exactly... I saw it as an opportunity. I was shocked first, but I think it was 2 weeks later I had incorporated Just Natural. It didn't take me a long time because I saw this is my opportunity, a way out. And I think it was 8 months after that we had secured our first piece of land and planted our first tree. And it was really, at the time I was also very concerned about climate change. And I think nobody with a bit of a brain will deny it anymore. We all feel we should do something, but very often we feel kind of powerless, right? There's only so much I can do. I'm a small person. Maybe it's more the corporations or government that need to do something. And this is also the reason why in corporate, I always felt like I needed to get into that boardroom, because I felt this is where decisions are made. And so this is where I have my influence. But I realized that actually, no. You can be a CEO, you can be a director. But at the end of the day, if the shareholder, the one keeping the money bag, if that person is not behind your ideas of doing things better, nothing is changing. And unfortunately, we're not there yet. And so I thought, instead of wanting to play big, why don't I go and play small, but with a bigger impact, because it's more direct. if I do something small but tangible, like growing food without pesticides, and I make it affordable for people to buy it, it's a small thing. I'm not changing the world, but I'm maybe changing the lives of a few families, and trust the ripple effect to do the rest. And also allowing me to directly feel the impact. If you sit in a boardroom and you make a decision, the effect of your decision you rarely see. You sit in your office with air conditioning.
Exactly.
But working the land, growing food, selling the food, and then have the person call you back or sending you a picture saying, oh, this evening we ate this, look what I made, it was so good. That is something that is more worth than,
the reward, right?
Ouais.
The gratitude, that moment that it touches your heart, your emotions so much deeper. I always say this, like sometimes you can have big salaries and buy these big things thinking they're going to bring you happiness, but it's those little hugs, one word, one message from that random person. Sometimes you change that moment in their life, and it's that exchange, cet échange, ce partage, comme tu dis. And I feel like I was a bit like driven like you, because during, again, lockdown, I also started planting a bit. And then when I moved, I created this little potager. Donc, I had fun planting. The only thing is that all my neighbors were using quite a lot of chemicals. So I had a lot of rats and all the pests also coming. So I was like, we need to find a right share between what you eat and what I can eat.
Yes.
But even just, the fact of growing your own food is something that we've so disconnected, right? As you said, the principle of living and looking and contemplating, respecting nature. I feel like so many people don't even know that not everything grows all year long.
No?
There's a cycle to a vegetable, to a fruit.
Yeah.
There's certain things you can do and cannot do. There's certain things you can't produce in Mauritius. Comment est-ce qu'on est connecté? Et quand j'entends ton message, c'est de se dire, ce petit impact que j'ai, and if somebody comes and maybe they go home and they start to say, I have, like this 1 meter square, but I can still do something. C'est ça, c'est cet effet que sometimes you just need a word, you just need a sentence, you just need to touch them, and then the seed is planted, right? And one day that plant will germinate. You don't know when, but it's
moreover, I find it a worrying development that we are seeing. Food used to be a basic need. It is something that it sustains us. Food, everybody needs it, right? And it always was a right. I mean, everybody grew some food. It was just, but food over time has become a commodity. It's something we can trade. It's something we can earn money on. You now see countries who are very good in producing milk, and they will export all that milk. And then at the same time, when you look at the statistics, I saw that the other day, and I was like flabbergasted. You have these countries that export something like milk, but they also import because they need it themselves as well. The logical thing would be, well, why do you export if you need it yourself? Consume first yourself, and then you export whatever you have left over. But that's not how it works. So food has really become this commodity. We trade it all over the world. It has gone global. You have une compote de poire, and then you read the label. Les poires, ça vient d'Argentine. C'est envoyé ensuite à Thaïlande pour packaging, parce que c'est cheap over there. Et puis ça atterrit chez toi au Super U à Maurice. Mais c'est dingue qu'un poire, il fait tout ça. Tu vois, et donc pour moi, climate change et la relation que ça a avec notre nourriture, la façon qu'on produit, la façon qu'on waste it, we throw it out very easily, tout ça a une très grand effect on our climate. And so for me, I wanted to bundle all that. So healthy food, no pesticides, well-being, community, climate, care for the planet. I wanted to bundle all that in one, and I realized it's food that does it for me, because food, well, it connects us all.
Of course. You share
There's nothing better than sharing a meal with friends or your family. So it literally connects us, but it is also when you do something in food, you touch all these challenges that we are facing, right? And so I thought, yep, that's going to be my new profession. And that's why right from the start, I knew that the farm had to represent that. So that's why I said, un lieu de bien-être, comme un grand jardin dans lequel tu peux te balader. Oui, tu peux acheter des légumes, mais si ça te fait plaisir juste de balader et découvrir des plantes et des fleurs et les papillons, c'est bon aussi. Tu vois, c'est pas forcément... tu ne peux venir que pour acheter des légumes ou des fruits. So there's that. And then there's the reconnection with nature, of course, because you're right. We treat nature as if it is something nice that's over there, and then we go there, we visit it, and then we go out of it again. But we are nature. Not treating nature well is not treating ourselves well. And so kind of like by making people come and harvest themselves, it's kind of a sneaky way to force them to reconnect with nature.
And to empower them in a sense.
To empower them.
Because they're scared sometimes of where do you start? You know, how do I take this? How do I handle the plant? Am I going to hurt the plant?
Yes.
I've heard these questions.
Absolutely.
How does that grow? And it's true. It's like...
And therefore also reconnect with your food. I have not just kids, but also adult people who think that pineapples grow underground, or because we are so used to see the product already cut up neatly in a package that we start to lose knowing where does it come from? Is it a tree? Is it a bush? Is it underground, above ground? Seasonal, on est un peu gâté, hein? On veut manger des fraises toute l'année. On ne vit plus selon les saisons. Et ça a une conséquence pour le climat parce que ça veut dire que quand c'est pas la saison des fraises à Maurice, donc ça veut dire quand c'est l'été et c'est donc pas la saison des fraises, ben on fait importer. Mais les fraises, ça reste pas longtemps bon, donc on va le récolter quand c'est pas encore tout à fait mûr. Ça veut dire qu'il y a moins de vitamines dedans que quand ça mûrit au soleil. Enfin, il faut que ça prenne l'avion parce que le bateau c'est trop lent. Enfin, on peut comprendre l'effet.
La liste continue. Oui. If we took just this strawberry, qu'on fait la liste ensemble, il y a tellement de choses qu'on ne réalise pas derrière ce fruit qu'on veut avoir.
Ouais.
Mais tu sais ce qui est intéressant, c'est at Ayurveda, that science of life, of traditions, says also when you eat fruit out of season, it's not good for your health. Or it's not, I'm not going to go extreme, it's not good, but like, it doesn't have many benefits. Ce n'est pas aussi bon. Donc, manger des fruits qui viennent constamment de l'étranger, parce que they are superfoods sometimes. I'm sorry, I'm sometimes tired. I'm like, we have many superfoods. What is in your garden is superfood. It's fresh, it's
marketing.
Good.
The whole word superfood is...
Exactement. mais c'est faire comprendre aux gens qu'il y a des saisons parce que nature knew what we needed from time to time. Nature knew that in winter, you need more of this. In summer, you need more of that.
Different things.
Et la nature est intelligente, tout comme nous. On est nature. Et quand je t'entends, pour moi, ça me rappelle que we've made everything a commodity, and even that food, because it's in the supermarket, if it doesn't look good, I'm not going to buy. I'm going to ask and shout and say things loud to say I want better things that look good. Et c'est complètement que c'est ça, c'est se défaire quand je rencontre des gens qui je leur dis mais be curious, go and see what it looks like at least. You like to eat that? How much time does it is produced? Yeah, banana is slightly more ripe. Don't throw it away. There's so many things you can do.
Yes.
Banana bread, pancakes, tu vois, explorer, s'amuser. Parce que c'est de l'art finalement, la nourriture. You can create with that.
That's another reason why I wanted to do this, because I noticed that people have little respect for planteurs. On pense souvent que ce sont des gens qui, tu sais, ils pouvaient pas étudier, donc ils font ça parce que c'est... Mais pour pouvoir planter, ça demande une certaine intelligence. Il faut vraiment comprendre la nature, il faut comprendre les plantes, c'est pas, et moi je le sais, hein, parce que je suis pas du tout, I'm not at all with an agricultural background, so I had to learn a lot as well. And I thought, do I really want to work that hard, make this beautiful lettuce, and then see that lettuce sit at some supermarket among other lettuces? I felt like, no, I don't want to be an anonymous producer. I want people to know me. I want them to see what it takes to make it. And it's true that I've already had customers who said, you know what? I found your lettuce and it was a bit in the back of my fridge, but I didn't throw it out because I knew what it represented. And whereas in the old days they would have chucked it out because they don't know the person behind it. It's anonymous, right? It's a thing. It doesn't have a story, but people that buy with me, they also buy the story. They know my story. They see the story of the farm, and it immediately changes things. And I think this is what life is about. Again, we come back to it. It's the relationships, community. And for me, that's really, really important. And it changed my life because at first the idea was just a farm. And I still thought of, I do this on the side, but I will get a proper job on the side to make my money. But then I realized, I thought to myself, I actually like this so much and I don't think that I can do this part-time. And I thought, but what am I going to live from and how am I going to do this? And then when you sit down and really think about what is it I really need? And my conclusion was what I really need is food. I can grow it. And I need, what was very important to me also was making enough money so that I can have a good health insurance. Because when you come to a certain age, I started this 5 years ago, so I was 52. You have all kinds of people around you getting cancer, and it's really scary. Even people who always lived very healthy, they can get it. And so I felt like I need a good health insurance so that if I ever get the nasty surprise, that I'm reassured that I can get myself treated. And for me, it was really, that was the most important thing. It wasn't the big house. It wasn't the car. It wasn't all the other stuff. It becomes fluff. And this is where the real change happened. And that I sat my husband down and I said, how do you like to go and choose a minimalistic living? And he was like, what do you mean? Because he loves his stuff. I said, well, look at our house. It's filled with stuff. Do we need that? It feels heavy. And so at first he wasn't keen, but he was willing to try. And it changed him as it changed me. And today we live in a tiny house, literally. It's made of 2 containers on our farm, which was originally not even the idea, but we left our big house with the swimming pool that we never used because too busy. and we now live on the farm, a very simple life.
Okay.
And still it feels very rich because more time, the rhythm of nature, and it was not immediately. In the beginning, I would be like any other person. You have an idea, you're excited, you're like, oh yeah, I want this, and you are impatient. Basically, you want it now. And then again, you observe your land and you learn things. You see that everything has its time, and you need to give it that time. You cannot see today and eat the fruit the same day. You have to,
And I feel this is what nature teaches us, is that we've been living in a world that we engineered, and we look for instant gratification, social media. We look for instant service. Everything should be delivered. It is practical in a sense. There's certain things. I think it's helpful. We should aim for that. But then there's also the side of, get it straight away. It doesn't bring me pleasure after 2 days. I discard it to the side. And I love telling people about how I discovered the minimalists, which are 2 men from the United States. And they said they had so many things, but they were so unhappy. And then they got rid of everything and they got happy. And I was quite,
skeptical.
Oh my God. I was like, what are you talking about? And then I started and I asked myself, how many things do I own that I've never used in the last 5 years? And
exactly.
I just in case. And I feel like nature gets you to come back to this, which is, you want that, you might have to work for it. It's going to take time. Ça va te demander de la patience. Et la patience, it's a thing that we don't have anymore. It's this quality that we tend to be like, I'm not going to wait, okay, but it's not going to be for me.
Yeah.
And we move on to the next one. Et c'est une des choses que, for me at least, and I can just share from my experience, nature taught me that, you know what, nature heals because it brings you back to the principles of life. You are nature. Things take time. You're not going to get everything that you want. Certain things are going to rot.
Yes.
Je pense que tu le vis. And then it's about connecting to what is, in yoga, we call this our swabhava, which is what is your inherent nature? What is your essence? And what do you need to live in accordance with that inherent nature, right? And it's so easy to put a mask on, start wearing brands, I feel like wearing all these identities that you think are yours because maybe the messages, the social media, the whatever is going on. But then you sit and you start to say, but is that truly who I am? Or there's so many things that, for me at least, from like slowing down towards
is it me or is it my ego talking? And I think, we are quite ego driven, right? And especially Mauritius, because we are a small island. We look at the rest of the world and what they all have. We want to be the second Dubai or the second Singapore. And I always say we should embrace our uniqueness and build on that. Why would you want to be someone else? Why would we want to chase that? Because it's superficial. Do you really think that people in Dubai are happy? Like all people? It's a little group of people that are very happy.
And I feel like happiness is a choice and it's you. It's a seed that you've planted and you have to water and you have to remove the weeds being the barriers, the beliefs, the way that you behave sometimes against yourself for seeking that happiness. And I feel in that process of coming back to nature, you start to remove the things, j'aime bien dire les béquilles, des fois the crutches I've put on to say, no, but then when that will work out, I'll be happy, you know, like sometimes there's a situation, or when I get that right thing.
It's never ending.
Exactly.
It's never ending. But it's right what you say. You need to nurture it, you need to water it, meaning you need to put the work in it. And there's the second thing, we're always in a hurry, lack of time. The second thing is we are a bit lazy, right? we want things to be easy. And this is also, if you want something good, you have to be willing to put your time and effort in it and not just sit on your couch and press a button and then expect that things are going to be there. If you really want something, then it must be worth your time. I have a lot of people who say, oh, you're living my dream life. Is that so? Do you know how much work it goes in there? And not only that, what is stopping you from doing it? And they say, oh, but I don't have the time for that. And then I would say, oh, but you just told me that you were binge watching a Netflix series. It's choice, right? It's choices. Every day we have 24 hours. I have the same 24 hours that you have. And it is about how do I spend these 24 hours? And I think it's the choices we make. And I think it's a little bit too easy to say, oh, no, but, you know, life makes it so that I cannot make that choice. I don't believe that is true. But yeah.
What I would add is that when we're born, we're dealt with different cards. But at some point, you get to take choices. Some people have bigger choices or bigger variety of choices. Donc, c'est plus facile de commencer certains projets. But I feel like we don't even need to start like with a farm. You don't need to start that big. And I always liked when I was doing nutrition consultation to tell people, let's stop trying to be Europeans. Let's stop trying to be Americans. Let's stop trying to be Australians. I studied in Australia. Allons faire comme des Mauriciens. Nous, c'est fait ce qui nous est nan. Eat sweet potato, manioc, arouille. And at first, people were looking at me. And I remember this lady came to me and she ate, potatoes, a lot of potatoes that was grown in Mauritius. And then she told me, but I lost weight eating potatoes. That's not right. I'm like, yeah, but you eat something that is more nutrient rich than this white bread that we don't know what's it's in there. Even I'm a dietitian and I don't know what they put in there. And she was shocked. And I was trying to tell her, this is the difference between, for me, real food and then processed food. And you know that think that even, not understanding where does my food come from, how much process been going on. Again, going back to living, the effort, not wasting. There's so many principles I feel that applies to every aspect of our lives. And by going back to the land and having to harvest it, having to put that effort in, you start to question many of the things that you do on the side. And what you shared is what, people talk about sacrifice just being something I tend to say negative in quotes. But the law of sacrifice tells us that it's about giving something of a lower nature because I want to achieve a higher nature. So sometimes it's giving up Netflix, could be social media scrolling, could be a job that is not making me happy to go for that goal. And it's going to take risk. It's going to be those few challenges that you've shared and many more. But once you get onto that path and you start seeing the benefits, you know that you know why you started. You know that there's no turning back. And that's what I feel when I've met a few people and I came to your farm and I saw what it was. I was like, I felt inspired and I want to walk that path, hopefully with time, taking the time also. People don't need to change, right? But for somebody that would like to, get started, what would you share with them? Like somebody that is questioning what they're doing right now.
Well, I think it's several things you could do. If you really care about nature, if you too are concerned about climate change, already you can ask yourself, okay, I earn a certain amount of money. What do I spend it on? To whom am I giving my money? Instead of just blindly, giving it out here and there. For me, it means, for example, ditching Temu and Amazon and all that. I know that there's this thrill of having something that we want and to have it cheap, but nothing is cheap. That cheap thing has a very hefty price tag for someone, maybe not you, but somewhere down the line, it had a cost, and that cost is coming back to you one day. So I think to be conscious about where do I spend my money on? And it's the same with food. Obviously, food is what sustains us. If we want to live a long, healthy life, it's important that we think about that. So maybe less processed food and more food that is grown the traditional way. And it's okay if you don't have time to do that. But just the pleasure of having a few kitchen herbs is already fun, right? And the rest you can find. In Mauritius, it's a bit difficult to find them, but there are more people like me. There are more farms like ours. You can find it. You just need to put in the effort to find it. So you could change that. And maybe think about what makes me happy? And, I have to think about this study they did in several countries. And wherever in the world they did this study, the same result came up. They asked people, what is the most important thing in life for you? Money consistently came at number 5 or 6. People always start with my health or love, or my relationship with family, or, all that. So consider this. If this is what we truly value, and then look at our weekly agenda, how much of our time did we spend on love and relationships? And then you realize that scarily little, And so I would say start there. Really think about what is important to me and spend more time on that. And then I don't have all the answers, but I felt it was wrong what I was doing, and I thought I start with a little change and the rest came after. Because as you go, you realize more and more, oh yeah, this no longer is for me. I'd rather do this. And you'll find your way. And just trust that process, because it's true. When you sit down and you listen, stop listening to the news. It makes you depressive and it makes you feel like nothing will ever be right again. But you cannot change the whole world, but you can change your world. And then again, that ripple effect. If you do things better in your life, the people who see that can get inspired and might do the same. And then it grows bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is, I think, what we should be doing.
So be your own inspiration and then inspire others. And I feel in your message, there was also the ripple effect of once you start taking actions for you, the actions follow up.
Yes.
Once you're aligned. And what I want to share, dire aux auditeurs, I think we should be intentional, l'intention. If you have values, if you believe in something, check that the decisions, the actions that you take. En français, on dit consomme-acteur. On est consommateur, mais on est consomme-acteur.
Oui.
You are the actor of change. Et donc, si ma valeur et mon intention sont dans une direction, I cannot take an action that is at 180 degrees and then ask myself, why am I unhappy? Why are things not working out? Because I'm going in one direction, but then if I take the action in the other direction, I'm not going anywhere. Et c'est le message que j'entends.
And don't be too hard on yourself because, you cannot change everything and make it perfect, right? But just make a little step and see where it takes you. Because it's true, we cannot all live in a tiny house on a farm. And we don't need to. And we cannot fully escape the world around us, right? So certain things we cannot change because it's just the way it is. We are locked in this system. But there are things, small things where you can start. And you will see once you start doing that, then the bigger stuff comes. And
I feel like it's what nature tells us, right? Progress, not perfection. Everything is unique in nature. Sometimes things just work out naturally. And sometimes it's the opposite of what you expect, but you still get some feedback and then you can change, adapt.
Yeah.
Et je crois que c'est ça. It's like taking it a bit as a lab. Try something, experiment. Essayer, réessayer, réessayer.
Ouais.
Des fois, tout rate. Des fois, tout réussit. Even saying I have a green hand, la main verte, je crois pas dedans. Je dis aux gens, it's about practice. Whatever you practice, whatever you put your time in is going to grow. And this is it. And one of the things I would love to hear from you, Nathalie, would be about what would be your hopes for the future? What would you like to see? Because you've been in there, you've said that there are other people, starting to talk about regenerative farming, growing the land, being more in contact with communities, skipping the middleman. That's also something, skipping that middleman that makes all of the money because the planter is not making much. The consumer is paying crazy prices, but we don't know that in between. It's just that one person that is increasing the prices. But coming back to what I said is, what would be your future hope, for like future generation, but also people right now? Or what would you like to see?
I would like to see that Mauritius... il faut qu'on continue à se développer, mais développer smartly. Meaning, as I said before, let's not try and go for the golden pot at the rainbow, like Dubai and Singapore, because we think that is, wow. But let's look inwardly and say, okay, what is our strength? Because all these tourists that come to Mauritius, do you think that they come because they want to find a second Dubai? They come because they're looking for something they've lost in their own country, and we still have it. So it would be in our interest to keep it, right? So for me, I hope for Mauritius truly that we stop squandering our land. Land feeds us, but not only feeds us, it's a carbon sink. It helps us with heavy rains, and the rains will become more heavier. We can see it. And it has nowhere to go si on commence à bétonner tout.
Ouais,
ça va être un problème. So yeah, appreciate the land that we have, develop it smartly, and keep nature and become part again for nature. Really, truly, and embrace it. And I think this is where our happiness lies, and where we can also, because people say, yeah, but you have the economy, but this eternal growth is a lie. It's a fairy tale. It doesn't exist, right?
It doesn't.
And I think
it's at the cost of something.
Head for the economy of enough. We have a gap between the rich and the poor, and it's only becoming bigger. Mm-hmm. And if we are not careful, we will lose the peace that we know today. So I would say, as Mauritians, let's unite and work together and make sure that everybody grows and develops and has a better life till the point that we reach that it is enough. We have the food we want, we can drink, we have a roof above our heads, we can amuse ourselves, we have our family, we have our friends, and our lives will be quite fulfilled, I think, and we will find ourselves not needing all the glitter and because all that glitter is just destroying our planet. So yeah, I hope that we will be able to do that.
I love what you shared, and for me it's something that, so again, I was very blessed to be able to go and study in Australia. But when I was in Australia, I realized how much there was fashion trends. So each 6 months, the fashion trend was just changing. And apparently I had to change my clothes, but I was a student, didn't have the money. So I just went on. I wasn't fashionable. But anyway, to make it short, what I realized is when I came back to Mauritius, I loved that island lifestyle, which was simpler clothing, simpler everything. Tout était plus simple. I didn't have to be that trendy. I didn't have to fit in a box. And I felt like this got lost. Et pour moi, être un Îlois, c'est revenir à la simplicité, l'authenticité, les connexions. I was also very fortunate, like volunteering in Asia. And I realized like at that time I owned like 4 t-shirts, a short, a skirt, and a pair of pants for 3 months. And I was the happiest I had ever been. So in that sense of going back to nature, loving Mother Earth, I think it's also going back to our true nature, which is we are human beings. Yes, we need things, but the things that we have shouldn't own us and then control our lives, make us sick. So let's wish health, and I hope this conversation can just open more conversations.
Yes, I hope so.
En tout cas, merci beaucoup. I think I would love to continue to talk about that, maybe some other time. Donc, merci beaucoup. I will share also more information on your farm and how you can reach Nathalie and go and visit, and why not pick your own vegetables. Donc, merci beaucoup.
Avec plaisir. Merci à toi.
Allez. Hey guys, thank you for tuning in today. If you'd like deeper insights, personal reflections, and resources, make sure to subscribe to my newsletter. You can find the link in the description below, or you can also visit my website, Est-Sens.com.